Quicksand is such an interesting song. It's got a very Sarah Morris-like lyric, and I'm constantly astounded by just how much a human heart can take.
Yeah.
That seems very Sarah Morris to me.
I can see that, absolutely. Yeah.
And it does seem hopeful, again, but I think it's reckoning with these impediments. The day that we filmed this, it was Song of the Day on the Current.
Yeah.
And we waited to listen to it on the Current before starting to film the interview.
I am that guy. I like to listen to myself.
I encouraged it. I was preparing for the interview. So, A, congratulations.
Thank you.
Being Song of the Day.
Thank you.
And B, do you have any thoughts on Quicksand?
The way that I introduce it on stage is I say it's a breakup song, but not all breakups are romantic. And without going into details about what inspired it, it came from what basically amounted to a breakup, a musical one a few years ago. And again, talking about how I don't just want people to listen to whatever it is that I'm going through. It's like, no one really cares about that, I don't think. I'm not pompous enough to think that people give a crap about me singing about, an experience with musicians or something like that.
Well, the people that are listening to and really enjoying your music and not doing so as a portal through which to get biographical details.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, what's Ben up to now? So I wrapped it around the idea of it being a breakup, because there can be very similar feelings. And to that end, it kind of reminds me of a lot of the songs that I wrote in my 20s when you're going through a bunch of feelings and breakups and things. And to kind of compare the two, there are songs that you can find on streaming services that are, that are breakup songs, things that I was experiencing at the time. This perspective is, again, older, a little bit more, I don't want to say analytical, but it is a little less despondent. There's not so much like, the world is over, what is going on, this is terrible. It's just trying to kind of look at it from a very analytical perspective of, how much can the human heart take? You have people that help shape your stories, and they guide you along. But we're all kind of looking for the same thing. That's what the all of us are pilgrims seeking shelter from the night. And it was just kind of my attempt to process these feelings and put it out in a way that I hope is relatable. But it does have that, a bit of that, a bit more maturity and perspective to it, I think.
I like that. I think so too. I like that it allows everyone, including whoever one is breaking up with here, to be the journeying character. All of us are pilgrims. It definitely doesn't exclude the person that one is breaking up with from being their own pilgrim.
Yeah.
Everyone's on their journey.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that we all need to be like hanging out together if that's not good.
Exactly.
For my progress on my journey.
I love to know you're happy, but I hate to face the fact, that I still have this, like, what basically was like a chip on the shoulder, like trying to be as democratic as possible about stuff. Yeah.
There are 4 songs that we're yet to visit. They're 4 of my favorites. Grilled Cheese is one. The song is called Grilled Cheese. There's no reference to grilled cheese. The record is called Trucks. There's no reference to trucks.
Yep.
And I think that is lovely and whimsical and creative.
Thank you.
So I think that's lovely and whimsical and creative, and I am still curious.
Sure as to why.
Yes.
I'll start with why the album is called Trucks. I don't want to disappoint you, but I'm not sure. I've always struggled with album titles. It's always it's just always this thing that I agonize over. And a few years ago, I just thought it would be really amusing if I put out a record called Trucks, just because when I think of my music, I don't think of trucks. Like, I don't think of country music or something like that. And so I just thought it'd be very funny. And the first day we were recording this record, Peter looked at me and was like, what do you want to call this project? And I just said, Trucks. And we stuck with it. So that's that.
Committed.
You're committed, exactly. It's like the way that I go shopping for clothes. It's like I go in, I'm a very quick shopper. I find something that I sort of like and I grab it, because if I don't, I'm gonna be in there for 2 hours agonizing over every little detail. So
Yes.
Grilled cheese, it does have a meaning. So the song is about, again, I don't mean to be elusive, but the song is kind of similar to Quicksand, and like it's about they come from the same experience. And after that happened, the thing that went down, I went home, and Ellen was at home, and she was like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. She's like, you sure? And I just said, fuck it, let's go get grilled cheese. So we did. So me and Ellen and Stan went over to All Square, which is a wonderful little shop in South Minneapolis that makes wonderful grilled cheese, and we ate grilled cheese. So then when I was trying to come up with the title for this song, I, again, kind of agonized, and I was like, fuck it, let's call it grilled cheese. So that's where that comes from.
So you checked before we began. It is okay to sweat. It's necessary to sweat because
yes,
very prominently in this song. So fuck you all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's really interesting maturity to the way in which this song arrives at saying fuck you, and it relates to perhaps my favorite song, Jerry Boy, which says fuck you to Jerry Boy in not so many words.
Not so as many words, yeah, for sure.
And
Jerry Boy.
What are your immediate thoughts on these two fuck you songs?
It's really funny because to me, from a creative standpoint, they're total opposites in that grilled cheese, to me, is the most personal song on the record. It's the one that is almost unfiltered feelings, where I just kind of spat it all out. Jerry Boy, I wrote on one of these retreats very early in the morning. I had a dream that there was a guy holding a cat singing Jerry Boy. And I woke up and just started writing out these lyrics. And basically what's on the record is the way that I wrote it very quickly, without a lot of analyzation. And it just was like, I don't know, the story unfolded. It was like, it's okay, this space is safe. You can say whatever you want. Oh, okay, maybe not that. What's wrong with you?
The space is safe, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, Jerry Boy. And I always have to make sure I only know one person named Jerry, and he is nothing like the character in this song, so yes. I always have to stress, this is not about you, Jerry. But yeah, that's interesting. But also, in my made-up version, I am still, even though I say Jesus Christ, Jerry Boy, I'm still trying to be kind of guarded about it and trying to be very polite. Like, maybe don't sit here anymore. This is a little surprising. Whereas, like, in the other one, it's like, yeah, like I've almost kind of been pushed to the point where, like, the defenses are down, and I'm just saying, fuck you, I'm getting out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the fuck you in both instances is coming from a place of feeling assertively, but also tenderly committed to remaining one's authentic self, and it ties into, like, I'm not going to go to sleep in anger anymore, and saying, perhaps not perhaps in different words, fuck you to the things that are working against that.
Sure.
And when I kept on encountering that in different ways in the record, it made me think of the song Confetti, Sarah Morris again. You play piano on Confetti. Yeah. And when I was interviewing Sarah about Hearts in Need of Repair, she shared the story of the genesis of Confetti. She was playing a show where the two of...
Yeah,
Do you remember the story?
It was a Ben Cook-Feltz and Friends show. which I did a few of pre-pandemic, where basically it was my band, and then we just had a lot of guests, including Sarah. There's a lot of other people that we were friends with, you know, that would come up and sing songs, and it was very collaborative. So like my band would serve as the backing band for whoever was performing, and you know, we'd play like a cover tune and just have a really good time. And
she guested on a song with you, and then was invited to bring a song, and she brought Confetti.
Yeah.
She spoke in the interview with me before about the political climate at the time.
Yeah, it was right after Trump had been elected, I think.
Yes, it was, yes. That's what she highlighted. It's a very nuanced song, Confetti is, I think, in this, because it's celebrating we are the confetti, but it is looking in a very sober way, with no rose-tinted spectacles, at how bad and disconnected the situation is. So these impediments to flourishing.
Which in and of itself takes some discipline.
Yes, exactly. To be able to see that and not turn away.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think in Jerry Boy, what I imagine Jerry Boy saying is all kinds of offensive things, and one recognizes, oh, this person who always seemed so pleasant, a pleasant demeanor and so on, thinks and cavalierly shares this really, it's very troubling that Jerry Boy thinks and shares these things.
Sure.
And I would love it to be the case that continuing to let Jerry Boy feel accepted and to love Jerry Boy would solve everything.
Right.
But I'm more committed to myself and my community flourishing than I am for being there for and making everything about Jerry Boy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Jerry Boy perhaps has been pandered enough.
Yeah.
People have pandered to Jerry Boy enough.
Yeah.
And so I love this, that the song just goes off and is nothing about Jerry Boy, like musically. It's so playful and just this. Is Lightning Joe Peterson on that one?
He's not on that one.
Can you say about the instrumentation?
Yeah, so that one, it's one of the few songs on the record that features some of the regular members of my band. This one was more of a solo thing, but Cole Mickelson plays guitar on it, and my regular bass player Andy Schuster is on there too. The thing that I like the most about the song is that I basically wanted to create an ensemble of low-rent Oak Ridge boys. So something, as Peter put, like there's something slightly broken about that song. And so I just got several of my friends that I knew had sort of low-ish voices to come in and just sing a couple of harmony lines. So Doug Collins is on there, and John Rodine, and my friend Brian Allen. And they're all just kind of singing the Jerry Boy stuff.
Yep.
And then also, this was Peter's suggestion, there's another part of the song where I'm basically doing like 4-part sort of Queen falsetto Freddie Mercury things in the middle of it too. Like the whole, that particular song, I was trying to channel the spirit of Paul McCartney's Ram album, where it's like every song has 65 ideas that are all worthy, but they're all just kind of like smushed together for almost no reason. And that's kind of what we were trying to go for. Like just, you know, most of this record was all about, again, discipline, only having instruments in there when they need to be, being very, you know, serving the song as best as possible, more minimalist, except for Jerry Boy.
Yeah, the inner child has free reign to just play, and do whatever it wants in that one. Yeah. And I think that's what I love, the joyfulness there, and the casualness of the, okay, fuck you, Jerry Boy. I'm just gonna, I'm not going to deny your existence. In fact, I'm gonna use it as material for a song.
There you go.
But I'm gonna be joyful, and I'm going to flourish, and I'm going to encourage others too as well.
Sure.
I'm gonna have Doug and my other friends come and encourage them to be silly, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love Jerry Boy.
Thank you.
Free Jazz Refugees
is,
I think, the next song after Jerry Boy. And that one is also one which, it's interesting. It's about music. On some level, rock and roll is gone, is the opening lyric. It's called Free Jazz Refugees.
Yeah.
And Kurt Cobain gets a shout out. Kurt Cobain said it all before. Oh, what I wouldn't give to feel that fire again. Oh, what I wouldn't give to feel that fire again. Oh, what I wouldn't give to strike that chord within my soul. I like that there isn't again there. So I feel that, yes, of course, like musically, like the sense that rock and roll is gone, you know, when we think that, in the moments where a person thinks that, it is the case that, you know, it's a particular genre. We could do rock and roll by numbers. Yeah. There's already been Nirvana, and Radiohead is dad rock.
Yeah. That's the world we're in now, yeah. Like, what's there left to say or something?
What's there left to say, yeah. But then, what I wouldn't give to strike that chord within my soul, the fact that there isn't again there, it's like, that doesn't really matter.
Right.
Like, if you feel this connection, if one feels that, you know, when one writes a rock song, one feels that one is expressing oneself, and somebody might cynically look on and be like, oh, another white guy writing a rock song.
Fair.
Fair. Yes, and we shouldn't pour too much cold water on any instant where somebody is finding a way to have the experience of that chord, their soul.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And the song kind of recognizes that, I think. Yeah. It's again, sonically, it's really interesting, like Jerry Boy, but it's more disciplined.
Sure, yes.
Could you reflect on that in relation to what the song is saying about genres going and jazz?
It's. I have to say again, this is really fun because you're drawing things from these songs that, like, as a creator, I almost try not to think about some of this.
Yeah, it's like that could get in the way of it being a good song.
Yeah, I just kind of trust the process and let it go. But this is really cool, because especially, you know, the Kurt Cobain line, that came from the writing process. I was working on this bridge that I was really happy with, and like, oh, this is so great. I can't believe I wrote this thing. I can't believe no one said this before. And basically, I was singing All in All Is All We Are. It was the last part from All Apologies. And I was like, damn it, that's already been done. So then I just changed it to Kurt Cobain Said It All before.
You changed All in All Is All We Are to
Kurt Cobain Said It All before. And then I moved on and wrote a whole other bridge about what I wouldn't give. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because it's true. A lot of things have already been said, and you know, there are so many perspectives that haven't been heard or haven't been given their due. And it's like, what do you do? How do you reconcile with that? And the thing that I think about is, even if something might seem like a cliche, or seem like it's silly but it's true, or something like that, if there's an authenticity behind it, I think it's still okay to express that. Or also being mindful that you're not deeply offending a bunch of people like Jerry Boy would have done, or something like that. But if you're feeling something in your heart that you really feel the need to express, that's going to come through in the music. And there will always be people that are receptive to it.
And often, the sillier and simpler, the better.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say about Richfield, really, but I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good case in point.
Yeah, well, thank you.
The closing track on the record is called Destroy All Metaphors, the Kaiju song.
The Kaiju song, yeah.
Kaiju's, I think it's the translation, I think it doesn't mean strange beast, technically.
Something like that, yeah.
And like Godzilla is an example.
It's used for Japanese giant monsters and stuff like that, yeah.
So,
and I always have to say this, I am a lifelong Godzilla fan. From like age 7, Godzilla shaped my elementary school experience, so,
right.
Yeah.
Almost as far back as the Molly show.
Jim Bear, Molly, and Bobcat, yeah. It was a very easy pathway from Jim Bear, Molly, and Bobcat to Godzilla.
So this is a really, I love this as an album closer, and the fact that the incongruity of it being called Destroy All Metaphors, but then also in the title we have the kaiju,
which is a metaphor, yeah.
Yeah, towering like a kaiju. So what is going on there?
So again, I worry that my answer is simpler than it should be, but the title is a riff on a Godzilla movie from the 60s, which is called Destroy All Monsters. And this was another circumstance where I had the music first and I started writing lyrics, and I very quickly scribbled down, love stronger than the wall. I think it was around the time of the 2020 election, so I was like, we can defeat this wall or whatever. 27 stories tall, and then I just wrote towering like a kaiju, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna keep that. But then I almost instantly rhymed it with, originally it was my heart and soul beside you, but then a fiery soul to guide you, and I'm like, okay, I've got a really fun rhyme with kaiju now, so I'm rolling with this. Yeah. And then it just became fun to think about a lot of the things that we say to describe love, and how massive it is, and how life-changing it is, and how all-encompassing it is. When you flip it and you're talking about a giant monster, those same terms can be used, but suddenly it's just terrifying as hell. So I loved the idea of like playing with that. So it's either about the massive wave that hits you when you experience new love for the first time, or it's about a giant monster attacking a city and destroying everything in its wake,
right,
and clearing something, to start again.
Love thunders through the town.
Yeah,
kind of encapsulates that, and I think it's interesting because there is something very disruptive about letting love in.
Sure.
And
sure.
As much as we obviously like love,
yeah,
or love, invite love, sometimes when one surrenders and allows oneself to be in loving relationship, then transformation occurs that is a bit like allowing the kaiju to like destroy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because on the when we don't find it alarming, the destruction could be, oh, I've moved beyond the patterns that I was stuck in before, when I was not as open to love. But breaking out of those patterns, because they're our patterns, that we're very used to,
sure,
is going to feel scary.
Exactly. I was going to say scary too. It kind of comes back to the Kansas skies thing that
I wish we had something more less simple to say. Joking.
No, but it comes back to Kansas skies and a lot of or dreams or anything. It can be very scary to move on from one thing to another. And so, yes, I think that's something that maybe isn't always considered when you are, especially if you're getting into a new relationship or you're making a big change, like you're committing to a marriage, or most recently for me, when my son was born, there was a lot of like, I know that this is going to change my life. I know this is going to be, everyone says this is going to be incredible and amazing, but what is going to happen to the world that I know and love? And spoiler alert, it upends everything, but it's so worth it. Like, it's just the most amazing thing. But like, whenever you're facing down the possibility of pure joy, that can be terrifying because, maybe you're afraid to accept it or recognize that you are worthy of that, but also you just have this life that has existed fine up until this point, and what's going to change and what do you get to hold on to and stuff like that.
The metaphor that Destroy All Metaphors ends with is we'll build it back in time, cradled by a nursery rhyme, a chance to start again. So I love that it ends with this metaphor of being cradled by a nursery rhyme, and that providing an opportunity to start again, especially because that metaphor has kind of been with us throughout the record. you're cradled at
Mocker Road.
Mocker Road. I didn't grow up there, so I can't
That's
remember
fine.
the name.
That's fine.
You're cradled there, and then you have the cradling experience of early co-creation with your dad, and even Jerry Boy, there's an initial attempt to cradle him in his safe space, and it's like, oh.
Never mind. Yeah.
But there is this recurring cradling, and there's an awareness now. You, as a parent, you get to be the cradler, but you're also allowing yourself to be cradled. I think that is really significant for what's going on in this record.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts on this and its music too? We're cradled by music, by a nursery rhyme.
And specifically in Destroy All Metaphors, I actually brought the cue chord back at the end. As the whole thing is ending, I start playing little snippets of the first song, which was the lullaby for Stan, and stuff like that. I think you put that really well. It's so funny because I have to say thank you, because you've drawn themes and connectivity and stuff that I was not thinking about at all. To me, these are just songs about stuff that I was going through. But you are right. I mean, there's a, you know, anytime there's something destructive happens, if you've lived long enough and you've gone through things, there is the opportunity to move on again. And, you know, cradling by a nursery rhyme, of course, I was thinking about, you know, new life and
the opening track on the record.
Yeah.
The gift to Stan.
Yeah. And Stan's on the record too.
Oh.
He's on Dreams. If you listen, whenever there's a banjo part playing, that's my wife Ellen, mother banjo, playing that banjo part. And Stan was sitting in the room with us, and I took every opportunity, once we figured out that it was working, to like tickle him a little bit. So there's a few moments where you hear him laugh
giggling
in the middle of the song. So,
oh, perfect.
Yeah, Stan looms large on this record.
Yeah. I love how much playfulness there is, and that the style of the playfulness has evolved, because you've always been very playful.
Sure.
But it's a playfulness that not only can fit alongside the seriousness, but allows the heart of the record to be expressed. It's a true expression. The playfulness is part. It's a necessary part.
Yeah.
It would be strange for there to be a Ben Cook-Feltz record that didn't have
no
any
humor
playfulness.
At all. Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, and that, you know, that's one of the things that I was coming back to. I talked about in the press release and stuff like a lot of the emotions on this record are not happy. They're not always joyful, but they're real. And that's also my true self. Like, I'm not going to go through any experience without some humor, without trying to find playfulness. So that just naturally is reflected in the music that I make. So.
Yeah, the commitment. It doesn't matter what Jerry Boy is doing.
Yeah.
You're going to be Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
And I love that, to close, you bring it back to the statement that I had encountered in the promotional materials related to there being lots of emotions in the record and they're not all happy. So for a while now, I've been working on a Back to the City book that now relates to 10 songs that I wrote last summer when I did Sarah Morris's Songwriting Challenge, and began with a more intellectual bringing 10 songs of Sarah Morris into conversation with 10 guideposts to wholehearted living presented by Brené Brown in The Gifts of Imperfection, because that was such an influential book on Sarah's practices.
Sure.
So it was like, okay, this is what Brené Brown's theory has to say about play, for example, and then here's a playful song by Sarah Morris, and here's the influence, and this is what Sarah's song seems to be doing that I think goes beyond what the theory can explain. So that was the starting point. And the song that I chose for the guidepost of Laughter, Song and Dance, which is about the importance of music in wholehearted living, was Confetti.
Sure.
And I selected it because I thought it's such a rich song emotionally.
Yeah.
Brené Brown says that there's a song for every emotion. And then she gives examples of like, you know, riding down the highway in the car and like feeling the breeze on one side. But through the Back to the City conversations, I find sometimes these difficult emotions, and the political situation. Jerry Boy, I feel like Jerry Boy and Confetti are both kind of responding to the same kind of climate there. You have a collection of songs here that match up with emotions. There's a broad range, they're complex, and there's a particular shade of anger, perhaps, that we don't want to be going to bed with anymore.
Sure.
So there's so much nuance to it. Do you have any final thoughts on this idea of there being a particular song for every emotion, and perhaps not just the joyful emotions?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I think that that's necessary. I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong with, you know, trying to be as positive as you can be and trying to see positivity, and there are a lot of songs that are about that, and I think that's good and that's healthy. But I think it's also healthy to actually go through and experience those emotions. And personally, the kind of music that I like to listen to, that I've always liked to listen to, tackles stuff like that. It's always multi-layered, and there are times when I'm really sad, or just a particular variety of sad or angry or something, and there are certain songs that I want to listen to. It's like Elton John said, sad songs say so much, you know. And I think that there's a room there's room for that in this world, and I think it's good and I think it's healthy. And again, if the emotion is authentic, and you know, for me, sad songs, I never really see them as like, to me, I see them as blankets or warm coats, you know, that you can kind of like, you can cradle yourself in them.
Yep.
And they provide a certain degree of comfort. And, you know, again, for me as a person, when I'm going through those experiences, I can't just be completely despondent. I try to find some humor, try to find some joy and some warmth. And so I'm personally am not really afraid to dig in and address those feelings if I can do so in a way that is authentic, but that usually isn't completely despondent.
Right. And by virtue of being authentic, given who you are, it will probably be somewhat playful.
Yes.
Without not being sad. It will still be sad.
Very left-handed.
Yeah. Well, I, for one, would like to be cradled by this collection of songs and some dad rock and Mary Bew in a live context. So one final reminder, viewers, that we can do so a week from today being when this is aired on MCN6. So next Thursday, October 26th, at Ice House, Ben Cook-Feltz, Mary Bew, and Dad Rock.
Dad Rock.
And in the meantime, having had a preview of the record, all the songs playing as we're discussing them, the record is released tomorrow, Friday, on various platforms. I assume.
All the streaming services you could ever eat.
Makes me think of kaiju.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can devour trucks tomorrow. Please do so. Thank you for going on this journey with us, Ben. Thank you for also coming on the journey with us, viewers. We'll be back with more Back to the City, and actually Ben's wife, Ellen Stanley, Mother Banjo, next Thursday at 10 p.m.